Heidi-ho neighbors, Rado Goji here, and welcome back to what appears to be the grand finale of my little experimental video series on building the Zyuohger Minipla Micro Gattai series. And when we last left off, we finished building the tail sections for Cube Whale. And there's going to be a few more parts to punch out and put together. It doesn't look like it's going to be that hard at all. Then I'm going to assemble Cube Whale, show off its little transformation features, as well as bring in the final combination. So there's no stickers in this part. We're all done with stickers. It's basically just at this point we're right now the instructions are telling me to put the leg parts together. This is going to be C4. I think I have this upside down, but I picked out the right one anyway. Good. C1. That's just going to cover this up. If I can line that up properly. And then A4, I think that's the one that was trying to escape. Yep. Well, now it's a lucky day because it gets to be put in the model now. This just slides in here. Right, that's one leg. And that's not actually part of the whale, that's just kind of there as a way to kind of keep the blocks together. And I'll explain that when we get to it. I may as well say the legs are literally just stacks of cubes. But it'll be a lot easier to illustrate that once we're at that part. So that's the other leg bit. And then we just punch out these guys here. And I probably could have kept this part in, the construction part, because we just take out these little things here and we're all done. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to bring out the other instruction sheet, because this actually has the assembly instruction, the basically finishing up the assembly instructions for Cube Whale at large. These will go onto the sides. Little bar things. I don't know what kind of impact these bar things are going to have on this version of the toy, because basically on the deluxe version of the toy, these more or less serve the same function as these. So I guess they're just there for aesthetics now. And then the tail parts. If I can put them on the correct side. There we go. Come on, get on the hinge. Can't fool me, you're not on the hinge. Oh, and then they just peg in on the sides there too. Alright, so now we're done with this completely. We don't need this anymore. But this is... Let's just get this in focus. And focus properly. There we are. This is Cube Whale in its cube form. As you can tell, it's not that cuboid of a shape. It's more of a... I'm sorry, I'm forgetting my geometry terms, but it's I guess a prism, or... It's more of a rectangle than a square. I mean, like... 1 through 9, I mean, some of them may have been a little more squat than others, but they still had a relative cube shape. This does keep the same sort of aspect of a cube, but it's not quite a cube. I mean, obviously, if we just kept the body the way it was and didn't put these things on the top or these things on the side, that would have been a good enough cube, but that's not really that much of a cube, but that's okay. For what it is, it's kind of cool. So I'm just kind of looking at the instruction on the side here. So if we're going to turn it into its animal mode, all we got to do is we got to take the sides that we just pegged in, and these will come together to form the tail. And then our water spout goes in that hole on the top. That just kind of falls in there. So now a little whale with a water spout on him. That's kind of cool. Actually, I may as well move the camera down to this level so we can see it better. Because up on the books, not so much. Put these off to the side for now. In fact, I'm going to move the camera this away so that I can see better. So yeah, there we go. That's the cube whale in its whale form. Very nice. Now, as I said before, the whale does have its own robot form, because this is the only component of the last Super Sentai robot, so he'll have a robot form, you know, as you do. So, take water spout out for now, and then what do we do here? It's not super clear. Okay. It's just the way that it's shaded. So we're going to stand them up like this. We're going to take off basically these sections here. If I can. Basically like this whole sort of section here as well. I'm going to try to do this without freaking breaking them, because they're actually on 2 pegs here too. Then, oh boy, all kinds of numbers and stuff. Okay, then they'll reattach like this. On the sides, and those are the arms. As you could have probably already been able to tell, they look very armish. Then, flip up this. This is the head. The legs will separate out. Basically separate the tail. And also the lower fins here will act as feet, and they can be, you know, basically put into, they can be rotated into position to keep it stable. What else we gotta do? Not much else from what I can see. Yeah, we pretty much got it there. And the water spout is going to act like the... remember how I said before that was basically kind of like a spear or an oscillating spear? That's basically what we're doing here. So he's going to just put that in his hand. And here we have Cube Whale's robot form, Dodeca King. Or Dodeca Zyuo? Dodeca-o. Sorry. So yeah, I like this. It has a little whale on the front. It does have that big gaping hole there, and I did talk about that earlier. That does kind of irk me a bit, but it's not that bad. It's definitely smaller than on like the Deluxe for sure. The arms will move fairly well. The legs, they don't have any kind of forward or backward movement, but you can move them outward and inward at the very least. Don't know why you'd need to do that. You can't move the head either, but the arms move at the very least. But if, you know, for like I said, like I've been saying, for like the size and, you know, the kind of parts going into this, not too bad. So like, let's break out this piece of paper here, and I got all my other cube animals, as you've seen, sitting there waiting for the final combination, and I'm fairly sure that I'm not going to be using every single piece here. I am not. There are going to be a lot of pieces that aren't going to be used, but that's okay. Alright, let's see if I can do this and not skip any steps by accident this time. So how are we starting off here? We are starting off in, looks like cube mode, so I'm going to go ahead and transform him back. So you'll get to look at a blank screen for a couple of minutes here while I remember how to transform him back without breaking these panels off or anything like that. Doo-doo-doo. Oh, right, this rotates up a bit. Okay. It's okay, I'm learned-ing. This is my first time, transforming this at all. I'm looking at the instructions as I do this, more or less. So it's a learning experience for all of us, unless you already have this. If you already have this, then you already know what to do, and you're probably pointing out my fallacies as we speak, but that's okay. I'm learneding. Oh, and already a sticker's coming loose and sliding into a position that we don't need to be in. That's okay, I fixed it. For now. Alright, so turn him back into his cube mode. Alright, now he is in his cube mode. So, actually, let's move his cube mode over here. We're going to be using Cube Kirin. Just kind of have Kirin, there's Mogura. I just kind of had these guys sort of lined up. We got Eagle, Shark, Lion, Elephant, Tiger, Gorilla, Crocodile, Tiger, Rhino, Kuma, and Komori. All of these are going to be used, except for a majority of Rhino's parts that aren't going to be used, but we'll get to that when we get to that. So, we got these leg parts here. So this is the first, this is going to be this leg here. No, this leg. And we're going to take, what are we looking at here? Come on. Okay, I'm just looking at it weird. Alright. This is the one. This is the one. Swear to God we got this. Okay, so elephant goes in there first. There is a hole with which to put the peg in. That's on the top of elephant. Just kind of smush it in. I did realize later on as well with the when we put the it's kind of reminding me when we were putting the cubes into the shoulders on the last big combination, and it was just they're just kind of sitting in the trailer. I did find out you can snap them down a little bit too, to make them more stable, and they'll stay in there, and that's nice. So that's something we got. Then lion. I mention it because these do kind of have like grooves and basically like peg points that they can fit in fairly well. Then shark. This is going to be 1 through 4 for this leg. And then eagle goes on the foot. You can see just kind of stays in there. Yep. So that's one leg. They all stay in there fairly well from what I can see. And the other leg is, well, the next 4 here. We have Cube Wolf. We'll go at the top. He fits in there fairly well, so that's good. Cube Gorilla and Crocodile. We're actually going to kind of put them together real quick first. And then they'll fit in together. And then Cube Tiger goes on the bottom. Actually, that fits in there really well. So that's that leg. Now we're going to take Cube Whale in his cube form. We're going to take out... What are we taking off here? It looks like we're taking something off. Oh, these fins that are on the tail part. Let's focus on this to get a better view. These are going to be rotated out and they'll be pulled off. So let's do so. These are going to be labeled A and B in the instructions, so I got to make sure I don't get those mixed up. Then we're going to attach the legs to these 2 holes on the bottom, and they are held on with massive pegs here. Doom. Let's pan up a little bit here so we can see what's going on with the main body. Just in such a way, hopefully, that the camera won't just flop over. Because that has been known to happen on occasion. Oh, also we got to take these peg things off. I guess these really don't have a use here after all. Their use has been taken up by the giant leg parts. In fact, yeah, I can see where there's similarities on the molding. So those have been taken over. See, I already skipped a step. Then we're going to take Cube Rhino. We're going to detach the trailer. That's going to go off to the side. And then we're going to take off the horn, and that's going to go off to the side. We're not going to use those. Then I'm going to make sure that the stickers are staying on, because like I said, I've had some problems with Cube Rhino's eyes coming off. I'm also going to check the... Okay, that sticker's staying on the robot head there, because that's good. Alright, so there's a door on the back here that will... I've been putting this on the wrong way. Okay. I've been putting these on... I put the legs on backwards. Oh dear. Sorry about that. Okay, I put the legs on backwards. This is actually the side we're meant to be seeing here. It's this side with the gold on there. Alright, then this side has the door that opens up. Opens up, come on, there we go. And what's left of the Rhino just kind of drives in there. And it looks like it locks in and stays, so we have the number 9 facing out the front. Alright, then what do we do? Okay, then we rotate. Okay, the tail sections here rotate downward. Yes, the black parts on the tail sections rotate downward like that. Okay, that's good. And these are going to be the arms, and the arms are actually composed of our other friends here. So Komori hooks on here, and then Kirin hooks on like so. And then on this side, got Kuma. And Mogura. Yes, these are the arms. I think that looks kind of silly too, especially considering that Kirin doesn't transform into his bazooka form here. All right, and then the fin parts are reattached. I guess because there aren't hinges. So they're reattached on pegs here. And that's the way that they fudge that for the Minipla. Which is fine. Okay. Then we take the water spout, take off this part that had like 50 stickers on it. This got one here, that blue piece I put in earlier. This swings out to make the robot face. The main harpoon part of the water spout fits on a peg here. And then this part of the water spout forms the helmet, which pegs on like that. And there you have it. Let me take this off the stand here. Sorry if you get a little nauseous, but we have our final combination here. Wild Tousai Dodeca King. Yes, I got it right. The design looks fine. I do wish that we would have had some use for all this other stuff here. I mean, I can understand them not using these, because basically what these were on the deluxe figure, these basically were in place of these big, bulky things that we built, because this would basically go through the cubes that made up the legs, and that's why they were there. So I can understand us not using those, but we don't have any use for the trailer, the rhino horn here, or the bazooka, or the Zyuohger spike thing. But for what this is, it looks okay. I do have a couple of things that irk me about it. And first off is the fact that we are using 8 components to make up the legs, which seems kind of wasteful to me. And also, one of the components is just kind of inside the chest area. Most of this is the whale. And then the arms, while they do come together, I think, well enough, it does feel kind of weird that like just the auxiliary stuff just kind of makes up the arms, especially considering that, again, Kieran can't turn into his bazooka, so he kind of loses his purpose there. But when you take all that into account, this actually looks pretty good. I like this a lot. And you know, like I said, as I've said before, this was a blast to make. I had a lot of fun making the model and these videos, and I sincerely hope that you enjoyed watching me build. You know, for what was on the camera, and yeah. So maybe I might do something like this again in the future. I do have some other Minipla stuff I can show off, but they're already built, so whatever. But I may do some more Minipla stuff in the future. Maybe not necessarily Micro Gattai, because as far as I know, they're not doing any other Micro Gattai stuff. It's basically just like your standard Minipla. But if I can get my hands on some in the future, maybe I might take another stab at doing another series like this. But I thought this was pretty fun. And again, I hope that you enjoyed you know, watching these videos as much as I did making them. So until next time, I've been Rado Goji, and I'll be here. Join me, won't you?